Hey everyone, so I am coming up with a new sort of topic, a new line on my channel here for reenacting videos, and that's going to be reenacting rants. Now, kind of some ground rules here. I'm not going to be targeting named individuals. This isn't here to talk crap about anyone in particular, and this isn't here to talk crap about events in particular. So I'm not going to be naming events or anything like that. It's kind of more of a broad and general things you or me or anyone else can encounter in a hobby that's just kind of annoying sometimes, right? So the first topic I wanted to come up with, was actually the inspiration of this video, was something I like to call know-it-all knots. And these are reenactors who will approach you and they'll comment on your stuff, and they act like they know it all, but when you actually look into it, they don't. And this is pretty common. A lot of people like to think that they are the authority of whatever it is that's being discussed. And in particular, this episode that happened with me was someone had posted about Cold War reenacting. I posted some pictures of East German Grenztruppen impressions that we did, and I flat out right away mentioned, hey, this was a last second choice for this particular timeline event. The impressions were not finished, they weren't complete, and we had some things we messed up on that were wrong that were eventually corrected. And lo and behold, someone still had to reply and pretty much reiterated everything I said. And to kind of get on the topic here, he told me, and this is not the first time I've heard this either, that Grenztruppen did not carry both binoculars and cameras at the same time, and that they never slung their rifles. So, the first time I had encountered this, I ignored it. I just could never reply to the guy. And this guy, I kind of told him, I had evidence to the contrary. But the best part was this guy told me that I needed to go back and research and look at the photographic documentation to show that he was right and I was wrong. So I want to provide some of my photographic documentation through this segment here of East German Grenztruppen carrying binoculars and cameras at the same time, both of them carrying binoculars and cameras at the same time, slung rifles, and rifles slung with the muzzles pointed down or underneath the shoulder. And I will also provide a comparison between the two with my impression and the actual pictures of the Grenztruppen on the field. So I got to thinking a little bit, and it's like, why is this a common thing? Because you see this not just in Cold War stuff; it happens a lot in World War II. The infamous one is rolled up sleeves for Germans. Oh my! If you roll up your sleeves as a German, you're going to have some guy go nuts. They're going to go ballistic on you. I know it goes on in the Civil War and so on and so forth. And everyone, I think, is so used to the older periods where things are more documented by writing and accounts and by how they were trained, not by how things were done on the field, but how things were documented in writing. And there's a difference between the two. And, we always say that we want to portray the norm and not the exception. And that's very true. However, in this case, the documentation and photographic evidence that I have vastly supports my claim and vastly supports my impression. This isn't a couple guys, this isn't an isolated incident that you sometimes see with World War II pictures where someone, a little special snowflake had done this and that. It wasn't the norm, it was kind of that particular individual or maybe that particular unit doing something a little bit different. This is more broad. This is several sectors of the Iron Curtain, several sectors of the Berlin Wall. These are different Grenztruppen units. This was a much broader practiced thing. And I think people are too used to written documentation. They don't like to look at what was actually practiced out on the field. And I agree that you should practice the norm and not the exception, but sometimes what's done out in the field became the norm. And a lot of times I feel that reenactors kind of they look too much to the cookie cutter standard, I guess is a good way to put it, and not actually what was practiced and what was done. And it's great for to do the cookie cutter stuff for garrison type stuff and camp type stuff. When you're out on the field, though, it kind of changes and the dynamics of everything changes. So it kind of all falls down on doing your proper research. If you're going to do something that's a little different, have that photographic evidence or have some form of evidence and proof that that actually happened, not just on a scale of one guy, but something that shows that this was kind of persistent. This occurred more than one time, more than one guy. And especially if you're going to do something on a unit scale too, definitely make sure you have that documentation that shows, hey, my particular division, my particular unit, they did this. Here's our evidence, because you're going to get challenged. And half the time, even if you get challenged and you do produce the evidence, you're still going to get challenged on it. So the know-it-all knots, they lurk everywhere, and it comes down to, that a lot of times they don't like to seem like they want to be helpful, they want to help you out. Most of the time, though, it's them just trying to feel a little bit better about themselves. So definitely, I'm not saying ignore people's advice, but definitely back it up. Either have them back it up, or you back it up yourself doing proper research and proper investigation on that. So that's the first rant. Probably come up with a few other ones here in the near future, and we'll go from there. So thanks. Have a good night, guys.